Hey guys, what's up? This is my reaction video to Last Week Tonight with John Oliver. Due to the length of the video, I'm gonna cut into small bite-sized pieces of parts I thought were very important. Now, if you guys want to check out the full video, click on the link below and watch it for yourself. So without further ado, let's jump into my shortened version of Last Week Tonight with John Oliver.
Our main story tonight, and I cannot believe I'm saying this, is Donald Trump. And I say that knowing that every time his name is said out loud, he has a shattering orgasm. We have mostly ignored Trump on this show, but he has now won 3 states, has been endorsed by Chris Christie, and polls show him leading most Super Tuesday states, which is a big deal.
Yes, it is.
In 1988, every candidate who's won the most states on Super Tuesday went on to become their party's nominee. So at this point, Donald Trump is America's backbone. It may have seemed harmless a year ago, but now that it's got frighteningly bigger, it is no longer wise to ignore it.
It seems that he jumps on Donald Trump's case right at the get-go. But does he have actual validation for this? Is Donald Trump a possible threat? Well, let's find out some more. Okay.
Where could people get that on? I'm really rich. I actually think I have the best temperament. People love me. You know what? I've been very successful. Everybody loves me. I went to an Ivy League school. I'm very highly educated. I know words. I have the best words. Literally the biggest word in the sentence, I have the best words, is the word words.
Word.
Well, yes, he has made more money than most of us will make in a lifetime. Not only did he get a multi-million-dollar inheritance from his father, but he's also lost a huge amount. And this is where we need to be careful. Because as we learned, he will threaten to sue your fat-ass pockets with his cocktail sausage fingers if you talk about his company's bankruptcies. So I will just let his own daughter describe the state of his finances at one point in his life.
I remember once my father and I were walking down Fifth Avenue, and there was a homeless person sitting right outside of Trump Tower. And I remember my father pointing to him and saying, you know, that guy has $8 billion more than him, because he was in such extreme debt at that point, you know?
So on this part, he talks about how Donald Trump inherited all this money from his rich father, and that's how he was able to have a nice little cushion to build his wealth upon. But to be fair to Donald Trump, I totally respect how he was able to build his wealth, despite however he got his start in life. And the reason being is because, yes, if I was to get $1 million and stuff, I would be better off right now, but at the same time, that doesn't mean I'm able to grow wealth from it. I might freaking go using money and blow it all in one night. Yeah, he may have had some successes and some failures, well, or many failures in the past with some bankruptcies here and there. As his daughter stated, he was like $8 billion in debt or some craziness like that. But regardless, he was able to still pick himself up and, you know, get past that and reestablish himself as a person and rebuild his empire again from the ground up. And that's something to actually like look at, because despite how many failures he's had, he was still able to recover from them and repair it and build upon it. So that's something I find is respectable, and he shouldn't be chastised for that. Okay, here we go.
And that is who we have seen in The Apprentice, or WrestleMania, or Home Alone 2. But if he's actually going to be the Republican nominee, it's time to stop thinking of the mascot and start thinking of the man. Because a candidate for president needs a coherent set of policies. Whatever you think about Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz, at least you basically know where they stand. But Trump's opinions have been wildly inconsistent. He's been pro-choice and pro-life, for and against assault weapon bans, in favour of both bringing in Syrian refugees and deporting them out of the country. And that inconsistency can be troubling. Just this morning, for instance, he was asked about the fact that David Duke, former Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan, had told supporters to vote for him. And this was his answer.
Will you unequivocally condemn David Duke and say that you don't want his vote or that of other white supremacists in this election?
Well, just so you understand, I don't know anything about David Duke, okay? I don't know anything about what you're even talking about with white supremacy or white supremacists. Honestly, I don't know David Duke. I don't believe I've ever met him. I'm pretty sure I didn't meet him, and I just don't know anything about him.
Really? That's your best answer there, because you definitely know who he is. Partly because you called him a bigot and a racist in the past. But that's not even the fucking point. The point is, with an answer like that, you are either racist or you are pretending to be, and at some point, there is no difference there.
It's hard to say what he was thinking at the time. Honestly, maybe it just slipped his mind at the time because he is an older gentleman, who knows. But, you know, I'm being devil's advocate here. Even if the whole point is he should have said something against that. If he, if I was running for president and they said, hey, so how you feel about these members of this group saying that, you know, we hate all whites and stuff, but we support you for running for presidency, I'll be like, look, I have nothing to do with that. I don't want to have anything to do with that. And if that's what they're about, I refuse any help in any shape or form from that group, because I don't stand for that. Donald Trump could have easily said something along those lines, as opposed to like saying, oh, I don't know about the guy, so I can't talk about his group or whatever. I mean, I agree with what John is saying here. Like, if you feel a certain way about a certain topic, regardless of who it is or whatever, you should just, you know, be able to spout that out. Like saying, hey, if this person is about this, I totally rebuke that. I do not want to have anything to do with that. Instead of like saying, oh, I don't know what this person's about, blah, 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 blah. Because that makes you look like you just want to protect yourself from saying anything bad about them because you really want their votes. And as he said, at the end of the day, if you become president of the United States, you have to know what you stand for. As far as going to say, you know what you're getting with Marco Rubio and the other guy, I don't know if that's true 100%, but I know that from what I've seen with Donald Trump, you pretty much know what you're getting with Donald Trump too. You know, if he gets into the White House, you're going to have a person who's going to speak their mind, pretty much tell you as it is, and very, very tactless. Like, so you imagine him having like a freaking nuclear deal going on with like Russia and stuff, and telling Putin, you know, shut the fuck up or whatever. It's not going to go over well. But to say that you don't know what you're going to get with Donald Trump, I would dare say that's not true. You do know what you're going to get with Donald Trump. You're going to get someone who has no respect.
And he might say he was joking, or he's changed his mind about any of these things. And private individuals are allowed to change their minds. We all do it. But when he's sworn in as president on January 20th, 2017, on that day, his opinions are going to matter. And you will remember that date, because it's the one that time travelers from the future will come back to try and stop the whole thing. And listen, I get that the character of Donald Trump is entertaining and that he says things that people want to hear. And I know his very name is powerful. Just listen to this one supporter explain what it means to her.
I was a little girl. I didn't even know what Trump towers were, but I knew that he was a wealthy, successful man.
Somehow, like, it was, even as a very young kid, the word Trump sort of meant rich.
It meant success.
She's not even wrong. Trump does sound rich. It's almost onomatopoeic. Trump is the sound produced when a mouthy servant is slapped across the face with a wad of $1,000 bills. Trump is the sound of a cork popping on a couple's champagne anniversary. The data renovations in the wine cellar were finally completed. The very name Trump is the cornerstone of his brand. If only there were a way to uncouple that magical word from the man he really is. Well, guess what? There is. Because it turns out the name Trump was not always his family's name. One biographer found that a prescient ancestor had changed it from, and this is true, Drumpf. Yes. Drumpf. And Drumpf is much less magical. It's the sound produced when a morbidly obese pigeon flies into the window of a foreclosed Old Navy. Drumpf. It's the sound of a bottle of store brand root beer falling off the shelf in a gas station mini-mart. And it may seem weird to bring up his ancestral name, But to quote Donald Trump, he should be proud of his heritage.
Now he speaks about how Donald Trump's last name, Trump, commands power and respect. But with introducing the word Trump, he's trying to take away that power, because what he's trying to get at is that you need to take this guy for what he is at face value and what he represents. Donald Trump, what he represents is pretty much a corporate America that can possibly build wealth. I'm not saying he is incapable of that, but may not go about it the best means. And what you really need to have in office as a president is someone who is tactful and able to, who's able to keep the peace as best as he or she can, because at the end of the day, the power of the president is his mouth, and the president could command life and death by his tongue. I'm not saying he's a god or anything, but he does have that power in his hand. Donald Trump could really be our next president, and I'm not gonna say he would be a bad president or not, because I don't know. I'm not trying to start anything, I'm just stating what I took away from the video, which is Donald Trump may not be ready to be president of the United States, and in some ways I could see why. Is he the best candidate so far? No, but at the same time, he probably is the best one we have at this point in time, from what I've seen, everyone I've seen. You guys tell me what you think? Comment below. Take care.